Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Steven Inks. In today's video, we have a wooden pen that dreamed of being a real boy. It is the Jinhao 9056. And this little beauty has a couple of things about it that, a couple of bumps in the road, a couple of things that are a little odd, a little strange, kind of a quirky pen. But there's lots to like and lots to criticize. I'm going to get into all of that. I'm going to draw with it. I'm going to give you my thoughts at the end. Let's get started. All right, so we've got this pen and I'm going to show it to you. It looks pretty great at first. Standard, slightly upscaled pen case. I heard a comment on a previous video that these can be used to fill watercolor pans. So you could have a little watercolor painting setup. You could fit probably 7 or 8 colors in there, so that's pretty cool. Useful tin, and the pen looks all right from here, but as we open it up, here's what we're gonna see. Right here along the cap, there is a big fat gash in the wood, and there's one over here by the there you go, right next to the name. This one's less offensive. I might not have even thought anything of it if I got like this, but then there's also one here. And the funny thing about this is the second pen that I've gotten that's been cracked. And at this point, I might write the entire pen off and just request a refund. But the funny thing is, I mean, oh look, there's another one. I didn't see that one, right? I don't know if the angle might not be great for showing it off, but oh, there you could see it. Right there next to the attachment for the, like, I think this pen looks like it's gonna split because this connects up with that. If these connect here, I mean, it's destroyed. So I would normally request a refund, but I'm kind of on this journey and I kind of want to know, is it all the pens or did I just get unlucky twice? I wish I'd filmed the other one because the other gash was quite deeper and worse. But I am going to do a return and see if we can get a replacement of this pen. And if the third one is not cracked, we will continue with the review. Otherwise, I guess I can't recommend this pen. Okay, believe it or not, this is the return pen. So before I open this, I'm just surprised that it came in this completely different box. I did order a different wood because I did some research and I found out that ebony wood actually is prone to cracking. I've never owned an ebony wood pen before. So I went for it, but I think I'm going to try something else because having gotten not one, two ebony pens that were cracked in significant ways. I think that might just be a feature of that type of wood, which is a real shame, but we're going to give this model of pen a try. So underneath this plastic exterior, we've got this orange wooden cardboard box, excuse me. I've never seen this box before. Somebody might have seen it and tell me it's pretty common. Go ahead and tell me that in the comments if you want, but I've never seen this color box before, so let's see what it looks like inside. Okay, comes with peripherals. We've got a little note telling how to put a cartridge or converter in the pen. Looks like there's instructions for roller balls too, in English and I'm gonna guess Chinese. Yep. Interesting. Okay, here's the pen. It looks gorgeous. Let me just look underneath here. There's a little thing down here. Sometimes there'll be stuff that they put at the bottom of these things. But that's not coming loose very easily. So I'm guessing this might just be a part of the box. Oh, no, it's coming loose. Okay. Yeah, it's just an empty box. All right. So it doesn't come with any cartridges. If you wanted to write right out of the box, you would need to have some ink. Fortunately, I got everything we need here today. Let's open it up. Let's see if we get an unblemished model. This is the Tigerwood model. And it's a really nice, pretty color of wood. It's sort of dark. It has kind of stripes on it. Explains the Tigerwood part. And this is clean. There's no scratches, there's no gashes, there's no nothing in this pen. So yeah, this is what I was looking for the whole time. We've got still a very nice nib. And it says 18 karat. It's definitely not. This should be a fine nib. It does not say anywhere that it's a fine nib, but that's what I ordered. And the cap, we've got metal on what appears to be plastic. As you can see that there's a little bit of a black. It's kind of warmed the touch, just to make me think it might be plastic and not metal. So I'm not a huge fan of that metal threads on wooden or on plastic or on wood or anything like that. And these look like pretty smooth threads, so maybe they won't be very dangerous to the pen. So, got an O-ring. I like that. Jinhao's been killing it with these O-rings. All right, and then there's a Jinhao converter, the typical one you'd expect. Not very fancy, but doesn't need to be. These typically get the job done. Looks like a nice capacity there. And it feels pretty smooth. So I think we're just ready to start playing with this one. This is really pretty. It's about the same width and thickness of my Conklin All-American. It's got a little spring back in the clip. If you look at that, that's going to make this designed to open up so you can clip it on. That's really nice. Okay, so this feels great. And I like the size. I like how clean the design is. This is going to be a fun one to hold. Let me check the posting. Oh yeah, it posts pretty securely. I would guess you probably don't want to squish it down too hard because you might scratch the back of the wood, but yeah, posts pretty nice. Holdable without the posting. This seems like it'll do for most people. Personally, I'm probably going to post it because that's just how I hold my pens, and that feels comfortable. Plenty of room to wiggle around and twist and turn. So yeah, let's do some lines with this one. The ink today is going to be Arakoth. I'm giving myself 100% amnesty for misspelling that. That is from the Colorverse New Horizons ink set. All of these are space-themed inks. It's a set of 4. Pretty cool. You can see a review for it on this channel. And let's see if that problem that we tend to have with Colorverse ink bottles is going to be a problem here, because this is a very wide section. So will it fit all the way through? It does not. Okay. Well, a couple of options we have here. We could switch inks, which I don't really want to do. I liked the idea of using this ink. But the other option would be to get my blunt needle syringe here and pull some ink up. And we'll grab that converter back here. Just move the ink out of the way. And we're going to fill it up right to the top. One of the advantages of using a blunt needle syringe. Pardon me. Let's get this going and ready to do some inking lines. All right, ready to test out some lines here. Just get to it. Let's see. Filled it up and it got it started. Here's some lines. I do like the quality of these lines, but I have 2 things to say right off the bat. One, this feels a little heavy for a fine line, and maybe I accidentally ordered a medium. This looks a little more like Jinhao's medium. The other thing is that this nib is not super smooth. I'm going to put that here. I don't think it's in a bad way. It's got a toothiness, almost like a almost like a pencil-y toothiness. I also think that this could easily be smoothed out with um, some micro mesh and some brass sheets to just kind of loosen up the flow a little bit. But it flows nicely, so maybe just the micro mesh. And if I remember to, I'll put in the description of the video the micro mesh that I use, but it's not really important to use what I use. You research micro mesh for pens, you'll find something. I find that the flow is keeping up really well, and I think I'm gonna be able to make a great video with a great drawing with all of this. So let's have a look at over here some shapes drawn in, and I definitely see a lot of potential here. It feels sturdy and strong. It's comfortable. There aren't as many bigger pens like this out there in the world, and especially for one that's not too expensive, this is a great place to decide if you really love big pens, because some of us, having never had a chance to try a big fat chunky pen, wouldn't get to see that under the $100-$200 mark, or under the $50 mark even, because those pens tend to be some of the more expensive ones, the ones from Conklin, Sailor King of Pen, things like brands like that. Who else? Pelican makes pretty big pens. Those are all really expensive ones. So this is kind of cool to have as sort of an entry-level big pen. Definitely, you don't have a lot of options for really big pens. There are some options that offer better smoothness. Jinhao nibs, I'm sorry to be critical, but aren't necessarily known for their smoothness, but they can be worked into a smooth spot if you know the right way to do it. So nib tuning might be necessary with this one. It does feel a little bit scratchy. I will do my best to hold off on actually doing those adjustments until I've done the big drawing, so that I can get an idea of what the pen looks like, how it feels doing a drawing just straight out of the box. Because I know some of you don't tune your nibs, or you're new to fountain pens. You want to know if this is a pen that would be good for you to use. I think this is a great pen to learn how to tune nibs on, because I think it's going to be necessary later, but it's not too expensive, so you won't be losing much. But yeah, the out-of-the-box experience for this is needs a bit of work. But yeah, I think I like this. Little art advice before we go. Look for new ideas, especially when you think you've figured it out. It's just a reminder that you can always come up with a better idea, even if you have the perfect idea for your composition, what you're going to draw, what you're going to do. And if you've got the time, really invested in doing that, finding the next thing that's good. All right, so with that line, I am going to actually do some practice for what idea I'm going to draw today, because I really don't have any ideas, but we'll see what we end up doing. See you soon. So for my drawing today, I am talking about an experience that most of us probably won't have until we're in our late 30s, early 40s, and beyond. I had got a visit from some of my siblings the other day, and they brought their kids, and we went to one of the coolest places to hang out if you live in the kind of the Bay Area or the Central Coast of California, the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. If you've been there, you know it's like a an open air carnival. Has all kinds of rides and stuff. It's just like a little tiny theme park right by the beach. And we were talking about all our old memories and all the things we used to do. And we decided we were going to go on the Giant Dipper, which is like the big roller coaster that they have on that theme park. And again, talking about our memories and all the fun times we had. When we went on that ride, some of my siblings with their children experiencing it for the first time. And when we got off the ride, all we could talk about was how much our backs hurt. So time gets you in the back in the end. So moral of the story, don't ride roller coasters after 40. All right, everybody, we are under the magnified lens here, and we're going to take a look at this nib up close. It was really hard to utilize this nib effectively, and you can kind of see this is interesting. I checked some of my other pens, and there might be, it's really hard to hold this in focus, so there might be a little bit of the way that I hold my pens that causes this to happen, but there's a little bit of a diagonal bend to the center of the nib, which is interesting. By the way, this is definitely more of a medium nib than a fine, so maybe I misordered it or it just came that way. I'm seeing a little bit of a bump in between the nib tines, and look at this. If you notice, you can see the apex of that sort of chevron shape is off, and where if you look at the hole, those of you who are kind of visually oriented will notice that the center of the nib breather hole is also off, making you can see in this video it'll be the top tine versus the bottom tine. Their sizes are slightly different, and the way that the tipping material works also slightly different. So not only do we have that this pen is kind of a rough start, and I haven't tried to condition the nib yet by tuning it, but it's actually built in kind of an inferior way. And just so you don't think that I'm being too harsh on this Jinhao nib, here's another Jinhao. This is my Jinhao 82, and this is what that nib looks like. Pretty much not perfect, but really nice down the center. This is an extra fine, by the way, so you could see the difference in the size of the tipping material. And there's the tip right there, and it is slightly diagonal, so that might not be one of the reasons why we're dealing with what we're dealing with, but it's a nice even sort of balanced out nib on the 82. And here we have, once again, just a reminder. Oops, that's the cap of my pen. Give me a second. There we go. It's not even. It's not split in the right spot. And a little bit of a bump there. I believe this is what they call a baby's bottom, where there's a little bit of a crevasse between them. So smoothing out may help, but just so we know, this pen is starting off on a bad foot with kind of a poorly formed tip. It's a shame. Just wanting to be completely thorough about the full process of dealing with this pen, I did end up taking 3 gradients of micro mesh. I think, let's see, this is the heaviest, the smallest grit to the finest grit over here, and run it across this nib to see if I can get a better experience. And indeed, I do see a difference. What we're looking at is way smoother. So I did also the back end too, so this is some reverse nib work, and it's doable. It really wasn't with it the other way. And one of the other things I noticed too is that I'm getting more consistent lines, because previously I was finding the need to go over lines more than once when I was doing the drawing. So I really do like this body and the wood cap and wood body. It looks really nice, but I do have to say I don't think I can recommend this particular pen unless you have the ability to tune the nib, because what I got was not very usable, and I think it affected my drawing. I feel bad because I like the idea I had for the drawing, and it didn't kind of look as good as I thought I could get it to look. So yeah, there it is. It's a half recommend, I guess. Hey everyone, just gonna give a few final thoughts about this pen. This is my second time filming this actually, because the first time I was a little more positive, and then having gone back to look at the nib and how it's set up and some of the flaws in its design and construction, I felt like I had to be very honest to say this was not a desired experience for me. This wasn't something that I enjoyed using as far as the flow of the ink and just the flaws in how the nib was made. I do think that the body of this pen is really great and it looks really nice now that it's not cracked, but 2 returns later, I have a pen that kind of works. If you have an extra nib laying around that you wouldn't mind tinkering with and dropping into this pen, maybe it's worth going for it for you. I do think it's hard for me to say definitively no, because possible that I just got a dud, but the fact that I got a damaged pen or an improperly made pen 3 times feels like a lot. And I know that people have commented on my channel before that Jinhao nibs have been bad for them, and I've always had a really great experience with their nibs. Maybe my my good luck finally caught up with me, and I'm experiencing what a lot of you all have experienced. Yes, it is hard to ensure quality control when you're creating pens at such a low cost, which is what that company does. So it's possible that this one is just prone to getting a few duds in there. If you have this pen and you had a different experience with it, please let me know in the comments below. Please join the conversation and leave your comments if you have experience with this pen, or if you've had other experience with Jinhao nibs, let us know. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. I will be seeing you in the next video with another pen to recommend or not, depending on how that nib works. All right, see you next time.